So I'm filming this too late and the light is going. Hi guys, it's been a while, right? Thanks for coming back. Where have you been? I hear you ask. I basically got a full-time job and it's hard. How are we doing? Thank you for coming back to Christmas Book Club Season 2. Oh yeah! I know you're thinking, Season 2, he only made 3 videos. Who is this guy? Well, you know what? I'm making a comeback and I'm doing it in style. Where have you been? Full-time job. I've basically been doing that for quite a long time and I've been on holiday. And yeah, I kind of was basically trying to just hang on by a thread during this fabulous year that we're having. And so I decided to take a bit of hiatus and thought I would come back fresh, bushy-tailed, ready to go with my next video. So no need to panic. I'm okay. I'm not being held hostage. The last time I spoke to you, you saw me doing a little live video, which has got quite a lot of views, by the way. Very happy with it. Thank you for all your support with that. Reading a little life kind of put me into a reading slump for quite a while, but no need to panic. I'm back, and I'm trying to basically get the last bit of my reading TBR list done for this year. Hence what this wonderful, interesting, insightful video is going to be about. I basically, if you saw my first video that I ever made, seems like such a long time ago now, I said that I'd set myself a challenge to basically read a book a month, because I'm not one of those guys who's going to pretend that I read a gazillion books a week, because I just can't. I still don't understand how people find time to do it and also earn money to live. But I have smashed that target. I've gotten past 12 books with a few months to spare. So I'm actually now pushing myself like a crazy person to get 25 read by December 31st. So I've had the fabulous time of picking some books that I want to read to finish off my year. And so I'm going to tell you about them. So hang around. Why do people... I find this interesting, but it baffles me that other people find it interesting as well. But here we are. Yeah, okay, so it took me a while. Actually first, I went to a bookshop today and I bought this daily planner, because it's yellow in the theme of Christmas Book Club. But look how great that is. Basically, I need a planner to get my life on track, because from sitting at home doing nothing to suddenly working 45 hours a week and trying to run and be part of a gym is stressful. So this little doozy should hopefully save my ass. Cool, so I got a lot of recommendations. Thank you on my Instagram for doing that. It's been hard, I won't lie. I still have a couple of extra spaces that I can fill up books with. I have bought a few that I'm going to show you. I'm also going to point up here for a couple of them because I haven't bought them yet, but I definitely want to read them. And then I'm still open to maybe getting 1 or 2 more suggestions in before the end of the year. So first off, I picked The Beach by Alex Garland. Now, this is a famous movie with Leonardo DiCaprio. Need I say more? I watched it during lockdown and it was amazing. I also, if you follow me on my normal Instagram, I don't shut up about the fact that I went traveling last year to Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Bali. And so watching the movie was very nostalgic and made me absolutely ache and want to be away traveling again. And so I thought, do you know what? I'm going to pick up this book and give a read at it because I need some escapism. Reading it just now, and so far I am just loving it. If you have not seen the movie, read this book, and then watch the movie. It is so good. The movie is that famous, has made that, what's the famous song by All Saints? The what's it called? Pure Shores or something. Anyway, you'll know at the moment you hear it, you're like, oh yeah, that movie, blah, blah, blah. But this book is so good, like you are completely, like you feel like you're on this island. It's basically about this backpacker called Richard who goes to Thailand and kind of wants an experience, not like the sort of experience that most tourists and backpackers go when they go to these places, because he feels like it's been overrun by and ruined by too many backpackers and tourists now. And he basically, I won't give too much away, but he comes across this place, this location that he can go to, which is not known about, and basically stumbles across this sort of like paradise place, very Lord of the Flies-esque, where he meets a group of people who live there and sustain themselves there, but it's all a big secret and no one else can know about it. And then it's all about what happens, and it's so good. I cannot recommend it enough. I know already I'm going to give it like 5 stars. If you're thinking about going traveling and stuff like that as well, like this is a book that will get you excited for it. And then definitely watch the movie because it's great as well. And we love Leonardo DiCaprio. Of course we do. Of course we do. He's like so young and sexy. Yeah. Do you know what one I'm talking about? No, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to embarrass myself. Next, we have... okay, so I've got a couple of like long-listed and shortlisted books for the Booker Prize for 2020. I don't actually know if I've ever even read a Booker book. I think, was A Little Life shortlisted maybe? Probably was. But I'm going to read, the next one is Real Life by Brandon Taylor. I've seen a lot of this on everyone's bookstagrams. The cover is different in America. It's like red with like a bird on it, I think. But when I saw it in the bookshop, I was like, yes, yes, yes. I don't necessarily know fully what it's about. I just know that it's about a black queer man called Wallace. And he's like a chemistry student or a biochemistry student or something. Basically, it says in the end of it, like, elegant, brutal, and startlingly intimate, Real Life is a campus novel about learning to live from an electric new voice in fiction. I think this is is this his debut? Yeah, it is. It's his debut, and he's, like, shortlisted now for the Booker Prize. So I have a feeling that it's going to be good. I've also seen that people cry at it, so every time I see someone say, I just burped again. I always burp in these videos. I always see when people say, oh, this book made me cry, I'm always like, let's see. I always feel like it's a challenge for me because I didn't cry my eyes out at A Little Life and I felt like I kind of wanted to. I was more just disturbed. But let's see. I'm very excited to read this. This is definitely next on my list after I read The Beach. Yeah, and do you know what? This actually might be the pick for Christmas Book Club October read along, which news coming on that shortly, I think. But I think this is going to be the one that we're going to read. Stay tuned. Next, I've seen this book for a long time. It's always on. I get a lot of inspiration from what James reads on YouTube. On BookTube, which I will link below. He's great. He always recommends just great books to read. And I've seen this one on his for ages, and I instantly felt like I wanted it. It's called The Brightlands by John Fram. Lots of people are likening him to Stephen King, who I also have read this year for the first time ever when I read Misery, which I read, I don't know, I didn't tell you about that, but it was on my Bookstagram, if you follow me on Bookstagram, but I read Misery, freaking loved it. I've got another one I'm going to show you that I'm going to read next. But yeah, this has been likened to a Stephen King novel. Basically, it's set in small town America, which is always an absolute tick list for me. The town of Bentley holds 2 things dear. It's football and its secrets. But when star quarterback Dylan Whitley goes missing, an unremitting fear grips this remote corner of Texas. Yeah, I also know that its main protagonist, I think, is queer, is gay. So it's football, it's like mystery, it's queer reading. It just looks great. Also, the cover looks fantastic as well. Set in small town America. If you tell me that this book is about that, if any book is about that, I'll probably be like, yeah, I'm gonna add that to Goodreads because I'm intrigued by it. So yeah, excited. Next up, we are going to read A Traveller at the Gates of Wisdom. Now, I haven't read any of John Boyne yet. I've still yet to read Heart's Invisible Furies, but I saw this come out. This is his new one that he basically brought out like 2 days ago, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to read this and see what he's all about. Now, I have read the blurb a million times, and I still couldn't really tell you about what it is about. All I do know that it spans over a large historical piece of time. I think it counts as historical fiction. I kind of like opened it and saw that it's like set in like Palestine and stuff, and you know how I feel about books set in Palestine because I read The Book of Longings by Sue Monk Kidd and freaking loved it. So I opened this and I was like, do you know what? Yeah, this might be great. Yeah, I can't tell you what it's about. I've tried honestly a million times. I know it's just about a family story and how it intertwines throughout hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. But it looks great. Ooh, look inside. I think it's gonna be good. Yeah, next. This book has already been on my Bookstagram, and I said that I've been wanting to read it. I still haven't got around to it. It was gonna be something I read after Little Life, but I just couldn't bear another heavy sort of read after it. But I think I'm ready to go now. It is gonna be Rainbow Milk by Paul Mendes. Again, I've read it out before, but yeah, basically about a young black gay Jehovah's Witness from Wolverhampton who basically moves to London and finds himself. Again, another debut book. I've heard everyone read it and rave about it. I freaking love the cover. Also, apparently the soundtrack in it that goes along with it is also great, because all the stuff he like listens to is kind of the same era I would have listened to when growing up. So yeah, very excited to read this too. Then I'm going to point here, Salem's Lot by Stephen King. Now, I don't have the actual copy with me right now because I lent it to my flatmate, but I found this £3.50 1970s edition. I think it was 1970s. Was it even out then? 1970s or 1980s edition of it. So in homage to Noel Gallagher, who I love on BookTube, I thought I would buy it. Yeah, and I'm going to read it round about Halloween time. It's basically about this town, Salem, I think, and all about vampires basically, and how these people go back to it and go into the town and whatever happens in it. It sounds great. And if misery is anything to go by, then I know I'm going to be sold. Yeah, so that's going to be the next one. Then, just today, I was in the shop and I was like, what else could I read? I've still a couple more that I could get through. What should I do? I went back to the shortlisted Booker list section of what else is to read, and this book jumped out to me called Shuggybane by Douglas Stewart. I'm not reading off my laptop. Yeah, Shuggybane by Douglas Stewart. It's set in the 1980s in Glasgow, during Thatcherism, and with this like kind of impoverished family, and it's about the son and this mother and their relationship together, because their father leaves them and she's like a drunk, and it just looks amazing. Again, another debut novel that people are suddenly raving about, so that is also high up on the list that I want to read as well, especially coming from Glasgow. I feel like I would be remiss if I don't read it, so yeah. Then from there, I maybe have one or two spaces left. I won't lie to you guys, I kind of want to read the new Twilight book, Midnight Sun. I do. And I've been wanting to read it for a while, and I keep going up to pick it up, and then I'm like, I'm not going to spend £20 buying that. But do you know what? Come Christmas, if I feel like I want a bit of cheese, I might read it. I've never read any of the Twilight novels. I don't know if I really need to. Some of you might shout at me and tell me that I need to, but I don't think I do. But for some strange reason, I really want to read Midnight Sun. So who knows? But yeah, if you have any other recommendations to be my final book of the year, whatever it should be, just burped again, then comment below. Also on my Bookstagram, I basically asked guys if you could ask me any questions that you want to know about me or my life or about books and blah, 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 blah. And I got a few, so I'm going to answer them now in a seemingly seamless segue called Chris's Book Club's Q&A. I always do these, I'm like, Chris, you're terrible at this. Terrible. But here we are. So I've got 10 questions. I'm going to answer them as best I can. Question 1. Which book did you read in the last year that surprised you the most? Need I say it again? The Book of Longings by Sumont Kidd. It was about Jesus. I didn't think that I'd be interested in it. I freaking loved it. If you haven't read it yet, give it a try. If you like historical fiction and you like the idea of knowing about Jesus before he became known as the Messiah, and his wife, who's actually the main protagonist in it, you should go and read it. It surprised me. I loved it. 2. What is your perfect holiday read? That is an interesting question. I was on holiday this year, just a couple of weeks ago now, and I read, got it here, Atomic Habits by James Clear. Whew, what a book. It was amazing. However, I kind of wish I'd brought with me some sort of fiction, because it kind of got to a point where I was like, okay, this is like great and I'm definitely bettering myself, but I kind of want some cheese. If I'm on holiday if I'm on holiday and I'm on a beach, I kind of probably just want some cheese. Something that I wouldn't read in everyday life, but maybe just for like jokes. You know, it could be a cheesy romance. It could be like, you know, people get annoyed at me if I say Jojo Moyes book. I don't know, like something really lighthearted, something easy, maybe something like historical fiction-y. You know, Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer, that would have been a perfect choice. Or I should have like brought the new Hunger Games book with me, like something like that. Not too much to think about sort of reading. That's what I would like to read. No offense to Jojo Moyes fans. I'm sure that all the books are amazing. But you know what I mean. Do you know what I mean? I've got one right there, The Giver of Stars, which I actually do want to read because it's set in like Texas. Anyway, have you always been an avid reader? No siree. I answered this before in my first ever video. I was not a reader ever. I am now, but only definitely in the past couple of years, having grown up. Again, it became an atomic habit of mine. I just was like forcing myself. I was like, no, Chris, like make reading part of your life. And now it's something that I now have a BookTube account about. So yeah, anyone can do it. Number 4, how fast do you read? Not very. Yeah, not very. I'm not like a really, really slow reader, but I'm also not like, I kind of like to take my time with it. Hence why I probably only read like 2 or 3 books a month. I don't really know how to get faster. I did read this thing. I watched this video where like the person says like to read faster, you basically put your finger like on the lines and you kind of like follow it with your finger. Apparently that makes you read faster. But I'm not going to sit like on the tube like going like this, like do, because I would look like a weirdo. 5, a book that has made you ugly cry. I am yet to find a book that makes me ugly cry. I don't think I have read anything that's made me ugly cry. I have had those like moments where I've silently wept into the book. I think probably the one I remember the most was when I read The Time Traveler's Wife, which I remember being a fantastic novel. The ending, whew, gosh, don't read that if you are feeling a bit vulnerable, because it will make you cry. Yeah, I think that was a great book. unless I was reading that when I was getting into reading, so I remember it being really good. Question 6. How do booktubers manage to read so much? I don't know. I honestly think I think a lot of people do audiobooks quite a lot, which I also do really enjoy, but I do find that you need to concentrate so hard in order to be able to keep up with them. Otherwise you just lose your, you've lost half of what they're saying if you're busy making a cup of tea. I just can't do two of the same things at the same time. Again, people devote their whole time to just constantly reading, which is great. I wish I could do that, but I also I have a partner, I have my full-time job, I need to make sure that I'm going to the gym, and not that people who read all day don't go to the gym, but I just mean I have so many other things going on that I can't just devote 5 hours, 6 hours of my day to reading. I don't know. Tell me your tips, people, because I want to read more. Question 7, your all-time favourite novel. I always get really embarrassed when I tell people this. Again, it was whilst I was getting into reading that I just loved this book. And I don't know if it was also because the time in my life that I was going through, and I was finding myself and dating and learning about love and all this kind of crap. But Eat, Pray, Love, man. Eat, Pray, Love by Elizabeth Gilbert. That movie with Julia Roberts, which is not good, but the book is just great. I think, as much as I remember, I just freaking loved it. And I recommend it to people all the time, especially when I'm going through breakups. I've given it to many people, but I just loved it. I think it's honestly brilliant. It might even be perfect. I just love how it's set out. It's really easy. So many beautiful moments in it, the ending as well. It's just great. I would highly recommend it. I don't know why should I be embarrassed about that? It's great. Eat, Pray, Love. I mean, every middle-aged woman also adores it, but I love it too, and that's fine. I am a middle-aged woman deep inside my bones. Question 8, favourite genre of book. I enjoy books that are historical fiction, probably, but not all set in the 1400s. Actually not about that, but I just love set in an era or a time that is not our own right now. If I'm reading something and it's talking about Instagram or stuff like that, I'm kind of just but if you set me in 1980s America, I love it. Yeah, I think does that count as a genre? 1980s America? Yeah, probably historical fiction. I don't know. 9, favourite writer. Again, I don't think, do I have a favourite writer? Favourite writer this year. The favourite writers this year have been Sue Monk Kidd and probably Stephen King. Great, really good. I'm excited to read more of Stephen King. I'm also excited to read more of Sue Monk Kidd's earlier stuff. I really like it. Also this year as well, Ocean Vuong, I've mentioned before, On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous. I'm seeing it now plastered everywhere, all over Waterstones. He's exquisite. Go and read it. He's probably favourite author of this year. Finally, question 10, would I consider ever writing a novel? Yes indeed. I had a plan to start doing it during lockdown, and I constantly have ideas flowing to me. It's basically about getting over myself, which this book has taught me about, and just starting something and getting it done. I do have a couple of ideas in motion. I do want to do it. It's just about making sure that I find time to do it. But yeah, of course, that is absolutely one of the goals. If I could learn to write stuff half as good as the stuff I'm reading, then I'd be laughing. Yeah, thank you for your questions. If you have any more, keep sending me them. I'll maybe add some more in my next video. Talking about my next video, what's it going to be? Is it going to be 10 years down the line? I'm going to post up my 5th video. No, my next video I am going to get to you as soon as I have read all the books in it. I'm basically going to be reading all the books that I should have read in high school but didn't because I was a lazy ass and didn't read. And basically what I think of them now. So I think on my list we're going to throw in a bit of To Kill a Mockingbird, The Catcher in the Rye, Of Mice and Men, a couple of more. And basically I'm going to read them as an adult and see if they're poignant and mean a lot more to me now than probably what they would have when I was 15 and didn't think that I cared about it. Yeah, if you have any suggestions of other books that I should add to that list, comment below. Thank you again for coming back for me. Thank you for bearing with me. I hope you guys have been reading lots, thinking lots and feeling lots, and I will hopefully see you all soon. If you have any ideas for next content that you want to see or you want me doing, then please just comment below and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button if you love me. If you want to follow my Bookstagram, I will comment it below as well in the link in the bio. And that's all I have to say. I will see you next time. Bye.